Jose Fernandez, CEO, founder of Filnace AI. AI is everything these days. So, Jose, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sergio. Hi, Chris. Yeah, you have to put AI on the slap AI and everything if you want to get it going these days.
Yeah, it's good for the VCs. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the company and where it started, what you guys do, and educate our audience.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Sergio, for having me. Yeah, I'm Jose Fernandez. I'm the CEO and founder of Filnace AI. We're a U.S. company that was born 4 years ago to try to become the credit bureau of gig workers. Right. We're all very aware of the pain points that 1099s have when they are trying to access fair financial products because they're thin file, no file by Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, by the big three credit bureaus, and that makes it really hard. And it's only because you don't have a formal salary, a traditional W-2, a pay stub coming in every month to your same bank account from the same employer for the same amount, and that lack of positive data just really makes it super difficult for the traditional credit bureaus that have that system ingrained of positive data to assess your creditworthiness, and that just creates this huge hurdle for all the banks and all the insurance providers to properly assess the risk of a gig worker. So we set off to do that. Interestingly enough, we found market fit in Latin America. We've been very successful in Brazil, in Mexico, in Chile, and Colombia. But this year, for July 4th, it was our most momentous day when we came back to our roots. And July 4th, we celebrated Independent Workers Day by launching Filnace AI in the US finally. So after being able to find a way to properly assess the credit score, the credit worthiness of gig workers throughout Latin America, and prove it to the largest banks, the largest insurance providers, the largest neobanks and fintechs in these countries, we are now ready, wielding the same relationships with the same large financial providers in the U.S. that have a presence in the U.S. To take on the data of gig workers and use it so that they can access fair financial products, so they can abandon credit card stacking and payday lending, and they can enter fair interest rates with large reputable financial institutions. And I'm happy to walk you through how that works.
Yeah, we'll do that in a minute. But so we had worked in the past with kind of a payday lenders. So just to make it clear, Filnace AI is almost like a conduit between the driver, right, and big financial institutions.
Yeah, so, think of it as a Credit Karma for
you
gig
don't
workers.
do the lending, you don't do any of that. But what you do is you facilitate the transaction by collecting the data from the driver, and which, as you correctly stated, is a huge hurdle for independent contractor drivers these days. They want to buy a new car, they want to buy a major purchase. It's really difficult for them to go get any kind of a loan from a major bank for the fact that, gig work is not looked at as traditional W-2 work, obviously, these days. But then a lot of gig workers actually make more than the W-2 workers. So am I correct in assuming that you're just a conduit between the two parties?
Yes, we do not offer any financial products ourselves. We are a pure data play. So think of us as the FICO of gig work or the Credit Karma of gig work, because we do have an app. That app can give you access to our analysis. So we're very transparent about how we assess your risk. And it is that same analysis that is going to be served, and is then served to the major banks and insurance providers of the US, so that you can then have access to better credit cards, better loans, better insurance from these reputable institutions.
Okay, great. So as you mentioned, walk us through. It's like, how does the process work? What do our audience have to do? Obviously, all the Filnace AI links are in the show notes, so please go visit those. But let's go through the process.
Yeah, so you go to Google Play Store or App Store, and then if you don't mind, we can show a quick video with kind of like the rundown of how it works. So it's very simple. You go to the app once you download and install it. It doesn't ask you anything to register. You just need your email. And it's all for free. Like, it was very important to us to make this app for free. And then you go there and you can connect any gig platform account that you work with. As soon as you connect all of them, and the incentive here is in connecting all of them, we give you everything. And again, I have to insist on this: everything is for free for the gig workers. We never want to charge anything to the gig worker. We immediately offer 2 value propositions. The first one is a complete PFM, a personal finance management, kind of like a Mint or a Credit Karma, where you can see all of your aggregate transaction information. So you can see how much money you're making per kilometer or per hour on one app versus another, how much money you made this month or last month, and you're able to track all of that through time. And then, staying true to the Filnace AI, we have our own AI, we call her Amy, our own AI agent that uses all of this data and the trained data from all of the users, anonymized obviously, of all of the users that have connected to our system, to give you insights on how to earn more and how to find the right financial product for you. So it'll literally speak to you and say, hey, Sergio, I see that you're working for Uber and Lyft in New York City. You work mostly on the afternoons and you're averaging $3,000 a month. If you were to work the same amount of time, but in the mornings on rush hour, you'll be making a 22% increase on your income. If you were to also work for focus more on Uber, where you're platinum, versus Lyft, where you have a lesser status, you'll be able to increase 7% your income. So it helps you earn more. It then finds you the right financial products according to the objectives that you have. And it does all of this for free, because what we do monetize, and we always want to be very transparent with our users, with the gig workers, what we do monetize then is the origination of financial products, because we take that same data that we just used to help you earn more, and we use that data to offer it to US Bank, TD Bank, Chase, Prudential, Chubb, to all the financial providers in the US, and say, hey, we have Sergio here, who is a great prospect for your loan program or for your credit card program or for your auto lending, because he has, a very strong cadence of hours work, a very strong pattern of income. The risk is very low because it has, the salary range. Again, we're using the terminology that banks use. Obviously, there's no salary, but the income range they call it salary range, is very strong, and it's between this and this, X and Y numbers. And we use all of that to convince them to offer you pre-approved bank offers that you receive in the Filnace AI app, again, for free. But if you do register, if you do take any of these financial products, we get paid origination fees by our banking partners.
On the back end, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So we align ourselves with the success of the gig worker, and we keep all of these tools free. Obviously, safety and security of the data is paramount. So we never keep any of the credential information of the user, because the user does have to log in through Filnace AI to their Uber account, their DoorDash account, their Lyft account, whatever it is, and they need to understand that if we're very, very conscientious about privacy. Never keep those credentials. The data is always, used with all the safety standards and all the certificates of the industry. We take that matter very seriously.
Okay. So we have some questions that I'm highlighting, Chris, so don't forget to pop those before Jose leaves. All right. So when, obviously, to me, the important thing is, how does our community benefit from Filnace AI, right? As long as it's, look, drivers are not making that much money these days, but, they're tight, obviously, but they would like to access credit lines or credit, period. And it is really, really difficult. And I know I've spoken to thousands of drivers about this. Their car gets old, or it breaks down, or they need, they're always thinking that, is this like I'm not going to say, high interest loans and this and that. So people, this is not it. This is not that. But tell us a little bit more about what state you're in, because obviously U.S. regulations are completely different than Latin America. Yeah. And so it seems like you said you found success. It's a U.S. company, but oddly enough, you found success in Latin America first. So what was that for? Was that due to regulatory reasons, or what was it for?
Yeah, no, it wasn't regulatory. So the story of Filnace AI is very interesting. So we use the brand Bankuish for Latin America, and I founded the company in 2020 during the pandemic, and I I've been working in banking as director of risk, so on the side of the underwriting teams that try to assess the creditworthiness of people and decide what credit lines are approved or what loan principal amounts are approved. And I realized that there's this huge and exciting and growing community of people that love being owners of their schedules, right? Not just like the pandemic gave everyone a taste of being owner of where you work from. Gig work gives you the taste of being able to decide when you want to work more or when you want to spend more time with your girlfriend or your children. And I realized that we have no information. We have no way in the banking industry to assess the creditworthiness properly of a gig worker because there's no salary, and salary is a very important metric. Everything is based around a traditional W-2 salary. So I started to work on this concept, and as I was working with this concept, I shared my findings with a bunch of fellow directors of risk of other banks, and it was interesting because the Latin American directors were super excited. So they asked me to come to Mexico. They asked me to come to Brazil to present this because they were much more desperate. The large banks, so the gig workers in Latin America are not just underbanked; they're unbanked, right? They have a loud gap access that is very very painful, not just for them but also for the banks. The banks also want to approach them but don't know how. So this excitement is something that we had to capitalize in the company, and that is why we started early in Latin America. We came back to the US because we have a defensible position. We're dominant in Latin America. We have hundreds of thousands of active users of our Bankuish app in Latin America. We've proven ourselves with hundreds of millions of dollars, over $200 million of loans, of credit being originated through our app in Latin America. So very successful there. We're very, very happy with the work we're doing there. And now we have realized that a lot of our clients in Latin America have a presence in the US. And it was through these partnerships, these relationships, that we decided to come back. And that's why we're here. The regulation is different here. But we've been always, I always say that for example, when it comes to privacy, we always were GDPR compliant, even though we're not present in Europe. I believe that they have the strongest regulation around privacy and ownership of data, and I believe gig workers should value the data that they're accruing, that they're accumulating in their platform accounts. So we value it too, and that has made us, easily certifiable in any new country that we expanded to, including the US.
Okay. Is there a loan limit, or are there limits that drivers have to deal? Obviously, whatever they're making, right? Because there are a lot of people do this also part-time. It's not about just a full-time. I mean, about only 20%, according to the data that I have, only about 20% of gig workers do it full-time as a career almost, and then the rest are doing it full-time, part-time. So there is a huge portion of the crowd, about 80%, who are doing it part-time. And do they also have access to your services as well, or do they have to drive a certain amount, or are there any thresholds that they have to meet? All that.
Yeah, no thresholds. So our financial institutions use this data on top of the credit bureaus, right? They're always going to be using credit bureau data because they need to. But when a credit bureau comes back thin file or no file, they rely more heavily on Bankuish, on Filnace AI. When you already have a certain standing, Filnace AI the data of Filnace AI can always be complementary and help them understand, okay, they have this income as a W-2, but then they also complement it with this 1099 data that Filnace AI is giving the financial provider, and that's how you might be able to unlock maybe a higher limit on your credit card, or a better lower interest rate, or maybe a better terms for financing your next vehicle. Those are the kind of things that we're trying to do. Obviously, if you're full-time, that's when we really shine, because if you're full-time, we're able to produce a very sturdy profile of someone for whom we can prove, more than 8 hours a day of gig work data, and therefore a very crystal clear view of your income, your aggregate average monthly income, and the trends of those patterns of work and income and even assets, because we can also help you leverage your vehicle and your terminal and all the data that we're accruing to convince a financial institution that you are a worthy prospect for a financial product.
Okay. One final question before I highlight some of the questions from the audience. As you know, I mean, gig workers are not the only 1099 workers in the country. There are many 1099 workers. Like, I have a lot of friends who are air conditioning contractors or electricians, right? They're all right, independent contractors, 1099 workers. Do they have access to Filance AI services as well, or do you have to be a Uber or Lyft or DoorDash driver?
That's a great question. We build our whole thesis to convince these major banks to trust in us, in that we are connected to the source of truth, right? So as long as you work for a tech platform, so your work is being managed through a technological platform. So for example, if you work through Workana or Upwork or freelancer.com or Fiverr, all of that data can also be used as well as easily as we would use Lyft or Uber. However, if you work informally, there's no tech system that we can plug into. That's where we cease to be useful. However, we have dozens of integrations. You can be an Airbnb host on your weekends, and an Amazon web seller, and a voiceover actor. And then, even though we were born for gig workers, we've been expanded because gig workers would ask us to. And I always say, leave it in the comments of the video if you think there is an app that you're working for that you think is worth more attention. Let us know, because our developer team is constantly building new integrations to new gig platforms.
That's excellent. Yeah, I mean, because as long as you're not working for, but working through a platform, some sort of platform, because all these platforms, they call themselves technology companies. So, then I think this fair game. So let me put up some questions. I'll read them to you. One of the obvious questions, obviously, is going to be, not sure about giving up data off my phone, looking at it. Okay, so you kind of hinted on it, but about 30 seconds, please, explain to her that why she should feel safe giving up her information.
Yes, so totally understandable. We take this very seriously. We understand that this is also our source of income, so we don't want to give our user and password to our Uber account and risk anything bad happening. We live for and by this. We've been doing this for many years. We have hundreds of thousands of trusting users that are actively using our app every day. We have, if you check out filance.ai, so www.filance.ai, the link is on the comments. You can see there the different certifications that we have security-wise, but just trust us that we are a mission-driven organization. We're here to help you. We don't store your credentials. We use the credentials through a gateway. When you put them, you're not putting them on the app. You're putting them directly to the API socket that connects us with the big platform. All we do is analyze your data. Again, there's a level of trust here.
In this day and age, we're giving up our information freely to every platform anyway. So I'm not sure you should be considered anything different. How does the company make money? I mean, well, he said that during the presentation, but what information is he collecting? So maybe you should answer what information part is he collecting. We know how they make money. They make money on the back end. They don't charge you anything. They don't collect anything from you. It's a free app for you.
Yeah, so information collecting is transactional information. So every ride that you take, we're aggregating the information on the income you're making on those rides, so we can share that with you. To be very clear, Baba, all the information that we're collecting, you're going to be able to see on the app, because we will show you a dashboard. We're going to show you how much money you're making every month, every week, on every app, per kilometer, per hour, and that's the information we're collecting. When we use that information for you, we're also, and we're very transparent about this, we're also using it aggregated without your name, but we're also using it to show it to banks. So we will tell Chase, we don't say Sergio Avedian, we say user XY33 has this profile, this aggregate average monthly income, this income trend, and is a very attractive profile. And if they decide to offer you a pre-approved credit card, you will see the pre-approved credit card on the app. And just to finish answering your first question, if you click on it, that is when we get paid by the bank.
Okay. Do you do, again, there is a good question, actually, mortgage refinancing?
We have never touched mortgages yet. But again, I always say, put on the comments if that is something that is important to you, because we prioritize what we're developing according to your needs. And that's why we started with personal lending, then we went to credit cards and to auto loans, because we're following the needs and the interests of our users. For example, now our users are demanding insurance products, so we're working with a lot of insurance providers to offer different insurance, including income protection insurance in case of accident or sickness, which is something that has become very helpful to a lot of our users. We're trying to develop, and again, when I say develop, it's also the technology, but also me going out there to speak to banks or insurance providers or credit card providers to look for the products you guys want. So if mortgages is something that is a priority for you, let us know in the comments. If anyone else agrees, let us know, because we will make it a priority.
Okay, cool. Next question is, do you have data security certificates? That's maybe a little technical, so just keep it short on that one.
Yeah, no, we do. So Filnace.ai, if you check there, you're going to see our on the About Us, you're going to see all of our certifications. You'll be able to review all of our data security certifications, which you should. You should trust. You shouldn't just trust me on the show.
Okay, cool. I think that's not related to Filnace.ai, Chris. Let's, there's actually a, do you do, when somebody applies, by the way, do you do some sort of a soft credit pull, or what do you do? Is there anything
Nothing.
like that? Okay,
nothing,
so then,
nothing.
yeah, this
all of our data is from our database. We don't do any soft. We don't use the credit bureaus at all. We want to be the credit bureau for gig workers. So we want to make sure that we're self-reliant.
Yeah, that's a valid question. Are you suggesting that banks will use your info rather than a FICO score?
Not yet. Right now, what they're doing is they're using us as a complementary to FICO. So when FICO comes thin file or no file, so when you might have a 600 or 700 or whatever, but the bank also gets an alert of thin file, no file. Thin file, no file means that the credit bureau that FICO billed that with, Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax, didn't have enough information for them to be confident about your score. And in those cases, that is when they really rely on Filnace.
Okay, and last question. This is not good. Don't see it in the Play Store. They were about to download it probably. So it's okay. So Jose mentioned Bankuish a couple times.
No, it's Filnace.
It's Filnace.
Filnace. Yeah, I apologize. Bankuish is the brand we use in Latin America. For the US, it's Filnace.
Okay, so Filnace.
It's all the same company. It's the same app, but in the US, you have to look for Filnace.
In the Play Store, it's under Filnace. If they do a search. Okay,
yes,
there you go.
Filnace. So finance with an L, which is a play on words between freelance and finance. If you look it up on the Google Play Store, it's up there.
Okay, cool. Well, Jose, thank you for showing up. I think it's a really interesting product. The fact that it's free for our audience is a good thing. The fact that, you're trying to facilitate people who need actually credit, who want to establish also credit, even on small purchases, credit cards or whatever not. And as you said, you will expand into different products in the future. I think it's a cool idea. We appreciate you showing up. I'll give you the floor for about 30 seconds. Close our segment.
I just want to thank you guys, and I want to tell anyone listening to please be active on the comment section. My team will be on top of it. We want to make sure that we listen to every one of you. We are built by gig workers for gig workers. We do this because we have a passion for this future of work. I really strongly believe that this is the future of work. I really do believe that the future of work doesn't have many W-2s in its future. It's going to be a 1099s. It's going to give us ownership of our time, and that's something we want to serve. Currently, the credit bureaus just don't. If anything, use us as a bridge, right? FICO. We won't be replacing FICO anytime soon, but we do build a bridge so you get those first products that can help you build your traditional credit score. So anyway, and we're always happy to build any feature that you guys want when it comes to the PFM side, the personal finance management side. So any comments, any suggestions, we're open to it. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you, much appreciated. We'll I'll forward whatever I get from our audience to your team. So we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right, thanks for watching. That short little clip was from our live stream, Show Me the Money Club with Sergio and myself, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications so you'll be notified when we go live, as well as all of our awesome content. Make sure to check out this video right here, which will take you to the entire live stream, or check out this video right there. All right, drive smart, everyone.